Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Before I go any further, huge thank you to everybody that sent me well-wishing messages. I've been off air, obviously, for the last couple of weeks due to an eye infection and also a cough and a cold. It's not been the best fortnight. I have really missed doing this, and I've missed you guys something rotten over the last couple of weeks. I'll be catching up on all your videos hopefully over the next week or so. I've not been able to watch very many because obviously due to the eye infection, every time I turned on either the TV or the computer, my eyes stung like hell. So I've not really had a chance to catch up on all of the stuff that you've been doing, but I will be doing that over the next couple of weeks now that hopefully I'm through this. Thanks also for the suggestions that you sent me to kick the cough and the cold into touch. I did ask why everybody was suggesting whiskey when I don't actually drink. And no, Guy, I will not be doing Tony Time drunk anytime soon. Maybe on cocaine or hard drugs, maybe, but not not whiskey, not a hope. But as I say, it's really good to be back. I have so missed doing this. Let me see, what have I got here? I've got all my notes sorted out. Subscribers, they've gone up from 109 to 112, so I've gained 3. So hello to all of you lot, whoever you are. I think one of them might be a guy by the name of Alec Bean. He's in Maryland in the USA. He runs a YouTube channel called Mr. Acrizzi. He reviews movies, and get this, he actually works in a movie theatre in Maryland called the Regal. Isn't that our dream job? Wouldn't that be it would definitely have been my dream job, 30-40 years ago. I'd have killed to have done something like that. But he's obviously posted pictures of the cinema on his Instagram account, and it just looks gorgeous. It's a big, I gather it's a big multiplex, but he's a lovely guy. He reviews movies on YouTube. As I say, he's also on Instagram. He's on Letterboxd, Twitter, which is the only one I'm not on. I think I tried to sign up for Twitter once ages ago, and for some reason it wouldn't sort of accept me or whatever, so I never bothered trying again. Maybe that's one I need to get onto. But I diverse already. Welcome to the group, Alec, if you are one of the new subscribers. Feel free to post any of your videos or any of your posts on the group. We always welcome sort of new content. We're a nice friendly little bunch here, so I think you'll get on well with everybody. But as I say, welcome to the group, and also welcome to the channel, and also the same to the other two, whoever you may be. Make yourselves known. And also congratulations to Dave Oliver. He's won YouTube Entertainer of the Month for June. Very well deserved, mate. As I said last night, you've got an absolutely cracking channel. I love watching your videos, and the good part about your videos as well is I don't actually have to watch them. I can have them sort of playing in my ear while I'm cleaning my toilets and my canteens at work. I can listen to your reviews, and it gives me something to talk about. You did mention some of the fears that you've had sort of recently about, why do you do this? Why do we bother with YouTube and all that sort of thing? I know you've had some personal problems over the last couple of weeks related to obviously your dad's passing a year ago, and obviously the anniversary of the funeral's coming up and all that sort of thing. So, and that kind of thing does make you think, why do I even bother with this? We all get it, Dave. I promise you, we all get it. Over the last couple of weeks, I've thought about it long and hard, and every time, as I've said before, I get doubts as to why I sit here for 30 minutes a week chatting about movies and what's been going on the Facebook group. Obviously every now and then you do get doubts and you think, oh God, can I really be arsed with this? And then someone, as you said yesterday, something or someone always says something that makes you realise exactly why you do this. it happened over the last 2 weeks. I've had obviously people messaging me saying we miss you and this that, and the other, which has been absolutely gorgeous, and that is obviously why I do it, because I know people enjoy it, and you do it for exactly the same reason. But obviously, Dave, we all get the same doubts, I promise you. You just kind of have to sail through them, which you do. But as I say, congratulations, mate, on winning YouTube Entertainer of the Month. Very, very well deserved. And obviously, we look forward to more content from you. Enjoying the Elm Street reviews, by the way. I actually really, really enjoyed the second instalment, Freddy's Revenge, when I watched it a few weeks ago. But I do remember watching it when it first came out and not being dreadfully impressed. I don't know why, it just didn't click with me at all. But the second time I watched it, which would have been probably about this time last year, I really, really enjoyed it. I had the same thing with the Indiana Jones movies. Didn't take to the Crystal Skull at all. But I watched it again after many, many years, just a few months ago, and really, really enjoyed it and appreciated it for what it was, which is quite a decent sequel. Talking of which, your Dial of Destiny video, when you were reading out some of the reviews that have been coming in, it has got mixed reviews. We kind of knew this would happen. You will always get certain people who will say, do you know what, it's not what it once was, and well, of course it's not what it once was. You've got a gap of something like 10-15 years between the last one and this one. And let's face it, Harrison Ford is he 70 or 80? Whichever it is, there's only going to be so much that he can do. And thankfully, he is now drawing a line under it, and saying, this is the last one. I won't be doing any more. So, as for the mixed reviews, remember Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? Didn't we hear the really, really, really terrible reviews that got? And I was actually dreading watching it because I thought this is not going to be good, and I think you probably felt the same. But we watched it, and you loved it. I liked it. I thought it was all right. I thought it was nowhere near as bad as what I'd heard it was. So we've kind of been here before. I get your doubts and this, that, and the other, because I've got the same ones. I'm looking forward to it, but it's with a certain amount of caution, if you know what I mean. I'm going to go into it expecting it to be. I don't know. This is the difficult thing. I don't know what to expect with it. I've watched the trailer, obviously, and it looks absolutely awesome. But time will tell as to what we'll actually think of it when it hits cinemas or streaming or whatever. I think it'll be all right. I don't think it's going to be anywhere as bad as what these bad reviews are saying. Whether it's going to be as good as the good reviews remains to be seen, but we'll see what happens with that. But I really enjoyed that video and listening to those early opinions, but they are kind of what we expected, isn't it? So as I say, once again, Dave, congratulations on your award, and we look forward to more content from you. What have I got here? I'll do a few comments, but you might not remember these because it was like 3 weeks ago. Guy, on the last vid, you put, great vid, matey, thanks for that. I was hoping the 40th anniversary of Blue Thunder would bring a release on 4K, but it doesn't seem to be happening. My Blu-ray will have to do, I guess. This is a movie I need to grab hold of. I thought I'd got a copy of it, but I haven't. I used to have it on VHS, couldn't find it anywhere. I thought I'd bought it on Blu-ray, couldn't find that anywhere. So I'm going to be treating myself to a copy of that, because I do remember seeing it at the Odeon when it first came out and thoroughly enjoying it. Really, really enjoyed that film. I thought Roy Scheider was brilliant. Malcolm McDowell was absolutely amazing. Was it Daniel Stern played the rookie? He was good. And it was just beautiful to look at. It was beautifully shot, beautifully photographed. I just thought it was a great film, and it is one that I should have in the collection, so I will be writing that very, very shortly. Chris, enjoyed the vid as always. Good choices on under and overrated actors. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying about Nicolas Cage. I don't rate him very highly, but he's definitely worth a higher opinion from others. He's not my favourite actor, as I said, but the movies that I've seen with him in, I have quite enjoyed. 8mm was good. I do want to watch the National Treasure movies. I've heard they're quite good. Um, if we, as I said before, if we can put the Wicker Man on the back burner, that appalling remake of the Wicker Man. The rest of the movies that I've seen of his have been quite good. So let's see what else I've got here. Love seeing a top 10 again. I really do want to do more. I've got one from Dave Lowe. I don't know whether I'm going to be doing it today because I've got so much to get through. And what I'd like to do is have a proper look at that list, and sort of make some notes on some of the choices. But there's some very, very interesting choices on there. So I will be doing that one. But anybody else that wants the top 10 movies reading out and for me to just chat about them for a few minutes, message them over to me, or however you want to do it, and obviously I'll take them on. But I love doing them. I just need more of them. You put it helps introduce me to films I would never have heard of or ones I've not seen in a while. Keep up the great work, sir. I will certainly keep up the great work, Chris, and thanks for that. The Black Demon. Yeah, post went up about this movie. It's a shark movie, another one. How many do we need? Jason, you put, I watched 20 minutes and the shite went off. Kind of expected that, mate. Mark, I managed 45 minutes. That's enough, makes the Meg look good. Bloody hell. Now, I love the Meg, so I'm not going to say anything about this. I did ask whether you thought I would like it, and you put, yeah, you think it was Oscar worthy. Maybe I would. I'm going to grab hold of it and see what I think. It doesn't look that bad from the trailer, but we all know, you know, you can get at least 2 minutes worth of good footage from any film and make it look awesome, and then you watch the full 90 minutes, it's like, oh my fucking god. We'll see how we go with that one, but I kind of predicted how that one was going to come out. Jason, you put, I seem to be spamming this group today. Jason, it doesn't matter. The more content we get on here, the better. And it's what makes this group what it is. It's one of the most vibrant groups that I've known. There's never a day goes by when at least 5 or 6 posts don't go up, and that is absolutely brilliant. So don't worry about spamming anything, mate. Let's see. Those American Pie lovers, hope this is true. Great comedy movies. There is another American Pie movie on the way, by the way. I forgot that was done with a photograph. There's another American Pie movie, which will be 5 altogether. I thought with the last one, I really enjoy them, but number 4, I don't know. Again, I enjoyed it, but I keep thinking, aren't they getting a bit old for all this now? But they are sort of rolling with the times. They're not playing sort of teenagers or college kids anymore. They are growing up. So yeah, I mean, they're just harmless, good fun. So yeah, I am kind of looking forward to that. You put, it's hard to make a comedy movie now without trying to offend anyone. Yeah, we don't really want to get me started on this, do we? We know exactly how I feel, and there's a post coming up a little bit later on that perfectly illustrates this. The main 4 American Pie movies are just hilarious classics and get funnier each time I watch them. I couldn't absolutely agree with that. I do love them. I haven't seen them for quite a while. I think my favourite out of all of them is the second one. I did enjoy that one a lot. You've got a new thread starting July the 3rd. 200 forgotten actors, actresses whittled down to 107. 107 will be whittled down to 75. Who will be the top 75? 75 weeks of a challenge for movie lovers. Looking forward to finding out what that's all about. I would love to do stuff like this, but I just haven't got the time. But I do love it when you come out with these things. Yeah, I think you're even thinking of doing something with CDs, aren't you? On music, retro music chit chat. I'm looking forward to that one, definitely. I mean, we've all also got, obviously, massive sort of CD vinyl collections, so that could be quite a good thread. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And as for embarrassing CDs, I have got a wealth of them, let's put it that way. So if that's the road that you're going down, you're going to be well catered for by me, that's for sure. Creed 3, you put, was only released a week ago. And if you look on the CEX site, there are more than 100 copies on there already. Just shows how shit this film was. Was it really? Is it really that bad? Because all of the reviews I heard on different podcasts the week it came out Um, they all seem to be raving about it. They said it was probably the best one yet. Yeah, and yet since that, all I've read is bad reviews. Very few good ones. I do need to catch up with it. I've got Creed 1 and 2, which I do need to have a look at, and I will be taking those in. But I find it really hard to believe that Creed 3 is as bad as you and everybody else seems to be making out. But I will let you know when I've actually watched it. But it doesn't bode well if they're on CEX for stupid prices already. Let me just scroll up a bit here. 3 movies to bin. I've done this every week. I've sorted 3 movies out that I'm going to be that I've basically decided that I don't particularly want anymore. Am I going to watch them? No. Again, let me see. These are this week's 3 in no particular order. First one is Sanctum. The first thing to say about all these 3 movies, I enjoyed them all. But the big question with this is, and you will appreciate this, Jason, I'm sure, is am I going to watch them again? And the answer is probably no. I thought this was brilliant. It was an uncomfortable watch. It was very, very claustrophobic. I'm not a great fan of swimming in water anyway, so the thought of going through these tiny caves with little or no, oh no, it made me feel very uncomfortable. It was a cracking movie, but am I going to watch it again? Do I really want to make myself feel that uncomfortable again? Probably not. So that's one. Let's see, next one. Oh god, the poor old MCU, The Incredible Hulk. I remember saying when I first talked about this, the weekend that I watched it, that this was probably my favourite MCU movie so far. I still haven't watched past Thor, by the way, so I'm way behind with that. But I thought this was absolutely amazing. But again, the question remains, am I going to watch it again, or is it just going to sit on a shelf gathering dust? No, I don't think I will watch it again. And this one, oh God. Please don't start gathering outside my house with flaming torches and pitchforks threatening to burn my haystacks down. The Revenant. Yes, I know I said I enjoyed it, and it is a good film. It is a cracking movie. It's a long film. It's beautifully photographed, beautifully acted. But again, I looked at it and thought, are you really likely to put this on again when there are so many movies that you haven't yet seen? And I'm afraid the answer is no. So The Revenant will be headed towards the RSPCA shop anytime soon. But that's me 3 for this week. Let's see. There's also an interesting release coming up. There's a 7 Blu-ray box set, 7-disc Blu-ray box set of Pete Walker horror movies. Now, Pete Walker was the king in the 1970s of exploitation, horror, sex movies. Some of the titles pretty much tell you everything that you need to know. I mean, the ones that are being released: Die Screaming Marianne from 1971, The Flesh and Blood Show from 1972, The House of Whipcord 1974, not what it sounds like, Frightmare from 1974, The House of Mortal Sin from 76, Schizo from 77, and The Comeback 1978. The Comeback was an amazing movie. Starred Jack Jones, who was one of those lounge singers, pretty much like Tony Bennett, that kind of thing. It was his first and I think only acting role. I thought it was amazing. But I've wanted these movies on Blu-ray for quite a while. I've seen, I've seen House of Whipcord, and I've seen House of Mortal Sin, and I've seen The Comeback, and they are cracking movies. Pete Walker was just a master at knowing what audiences wanted. And this is the kind of film that did really, really well in the 70s. You obviously couldn't make them now, but I'm looking forward to getting that box set. I think that's out sometime in August, so I will be gathering a copy of that. Exorcist Believer, the new Exorcist movie. It's had some test screenings. Not promising from what I've been reading. They're already looking at reshoots and all that sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, it's the first part of a trilogy, so I mean, if they're falling at the first hurdle, it doesn't bode well at all. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing it, and again, it's one of those. Is it really going to be as bad as everybody seems to think it's going to be? Judging from these test screenings, probably, but we'll see. I mean, Ellen Burstyn is in it. I've heard that Linda Blair is in this, but I'm not sure on that one. But Ellen Burstyn as Chris McNeil, she's definitely in it. So it can't be all that bad. But let's see when it comes out, which I think is going to be in October. The other bit of news: Caligula, one of my favourite movies ever, starring Malcolm McDowell. There has been a new, let me get this right, an ultimate cut produced or made, and it debuted at Cannes, the Cannes Film Festival, last week. And it's basically they've let me get this right. They've rescued loads of cut scenes or scenes that they didn't use from the cutting room floor, and made a completely different movie, which they believe is the movie that it was originally supposed to be. Now, I love this film. I've seen it many, many times. Remember again seeing it at Burton Odeon in 1980 when it first came out. And thoroughly enjoyed it. This is the uncut version. The version that's coming out soon is the ultimate cut. It's going to be a completely different version, so I won't need to get rid of that one. But I'm really, really looking forward to it. It got rave reviews at Cannes, which is a notoriously difficult thing to do. So yes, I will be looking forward to that. Rise of the Foot Soldier: Vengeance is coming autumn 2023. Dave Oliver, you said, these movies are such a guilty pleasure for me. Like, I know they are bad, but I just love them. I saw the first one. I thought it was incredibly violent, but very, very entertaining for what it was. But there has been so many of these foot soldier movies. I believe that it's either we're up to 5 or 6. There are countless documentaries on like Discovery Plus and stuff like this about the Essex murders, and I will basically say what I've said all along about this is, how many different ways can you tell the same story? I don't know, and yet I have bought all of them on Blu-ray. I think I've got the last 2 to get, so I do need to watch all of the others to see what all the fuss is about. But I did watch the first one and thoroughly enjoyed it, so I've no reason to believe that I won't enjoy the others. But like you say, Dave, they're that kind of a guilty pleasure kind of movie. You know they're pretty crap, but you love them and you watch them, and God knows I've got loads of those, so I kind of get that. Back to political correctness. The Life of Brian, Monty Python's Life of Brian, is being turned into a stage show. Now, they've been pressuring John Cleese to cut out certain scenes. I don't know which ones, but certain scenes have been, they've been asking for them to be removed, and John Cleese has given them a flat no, absolutely not. It stays exactly as it is. They obviously want to do it to please the woke brigade, but he said no, it will stay exactly as it is, or it doesn't get made. Good on you, John. Oh God. I mean, going back to the 1960s, the Python team, they thrived on controversy. Everything they did pretty much caused a stink. When Life of Brian came out, it was banned in certain counties, certain towns. Even the Holy Grail caused a bit of a fuss when it came out. Meaning of Life, that did exactly the same thing. So they thrived on controversy, and they are not about to bow down to it now. So I'm really pleased about that. Good on you, John. Let's see. And the sad news this week, for me anyway, is network distribution have gone into liquidation. Now, for those of you that don't know about networks specialise in releasing DVDs and Blu-rays of old, forgotten TV shows and movies. The kind of stuff that major distributors probably wouldn't touch with a barge pole. They had a very, very niche sort of audience. I mean, if you've got any sort of television series from like the 60s, the 70s, possibly the 80s, I'm willing to bet that some of them will be from network. So I'm really hoping somebody comes to their rescue and sort of sorts them out and gives them the money they need to carry on, because it's a real sad loss. I mean, some of the ones that they've released, let me just show you two or three of these that you might not have heard of. The Ghost Train. Caroline, you'll know this one. Arthur Askey, an old black and white movie from 1944, I think it is, 41, based on a stage play. Absolutely cracking comedy. British. Again, you don't hear much of it nowadays. Charlie says, this is one of my favourite. This is, let's see, it's a collection of, does it say how many? No, it doesn't, but there are hundreds on here. Public information films, which were rife in the 1970s. They were screened usually between sort of programmes. They lasted anywhere between sort of 30 seconds and 2-3 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer. And they were basically warning us of bad things that could happen if you mix polystyrene tiles with gloss paint, that kind of thing. Some of these were horrific stuff. The Spirit of Dark and Lonely Water with Donald Pleasance, my God, that still haunts me to this day. And there was one that they did called Apaches, which was to do with a group of kids who went onto an abandoned farm to play and basically all died. And it was a cautionary tale about playing in abandoned farms or buildings. And it was absolutely horrifying. It is still horrifying now when you watch it. I believe it's on YouTube. So if you get the chance to watch it, it's called Apaches. You'll see what I mean. It's from about 1976 or 77. But these are absolute magic. I watch these all the time and I still love them. But that, again, that's a network release. And another one, you'll remember this. This could actually have gone in the shows that I grew up with thread, but Shadows was basically a series of ghost stories, supernatural stories for kids, for children. And it was amazing, really good, some cracking stories. It ran for 3 series and I loved this. This was about 1975 or 6, so this was essential viewing, obviously when I got home from school, alongside things like Lost in Space, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, that kind of thing. Shadows was amazing, but again, without network, this would never have seen the light of day. I'm fairly sure of that. So I'm really hoping that some investor is going to come forward and bail them out, and so they can keep releasing these things, or that somebody will sort of carry on their release schedule. I've already made a list of the movies, the TV series and movies that I want to get from Amazon that were network, because they are going to become ultra rare over the next, I reckon, 6 months to a year. So I'm going to be grabbing the ones that I've meant to get for ages and never got round to. So yeah, that's sad news. I'm really sad to see the demise of network. It's a website that I go on at least twice a week to see what's coming up and what they've got coming out. So yeah, I'm missing them already, so I'm really hoping that someone comes to the rescue. Right, I'm coming up to 30 minutes and I'm nowhere near done yet, so I'm going to disappear for a few seconds, and then I'm going to come back and finish what I've got on here, so you get in a bit of an extra bit today. I'll talk to you in a minute. And we're back. Right, where was I? As you know, I listen to Kermode and Mayo's Take podcast pretty much every Saturday morning. And they were advertising this week a store that they've set up with merchandise that you can buy. I was amazed at the prices. I mean, I went on there thinking, yeah, I'll have a mug or I'll have a water bottle or whatever. These prices, £18 for a mug. I think I'd be a mug if I paid that. £160 for a director's chair. Seriously? £23 for a t-shirt. £12 for a notebook. I think I'll pass. I'll be listening to the podcast, as I say, every single Saturday religiously. I do it, but I certainly won't. I don't think I'll be investing in any of those. Well overpriced stuff. Nice, I'm sure, but well overpriced. Right, a quick review for you. I don't know whether I did this last time actually. The Michael J. Fox movie Still. If you've not had a chance to watch it, it's on Apple TV at the moment. A cracking documentary, takes you right the way from the beginning, when he started advertising, I think it was McDonald's, that kind of thing, from the TV series that he did, Family Ties, right the way through Back to the Future, through his whole career, through to his diagnosis with Parkinson's at age, I think it was 30. It's an absolutely wonderful documentary, and he comes across as such a nice, sincere guy who does not take his condition seriously as such. He makes jokes at his own expense. He recognises his own shortcomings. It's just a brilliantly done documentary, very touching, very moving. If you get the chance to watch it, I would highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. So, right, series that I grew up with. This will definitely take you back. I can't remember what last week's was. I think it was Kenny Everett's video show. We're back to kids programs again. Remember this one, guys? Skippy the Bush Kangaroo. I think this is season 1, and this is 39 episodes. So God knows how many were in season 2 and 3, if there was a season 2 and 3. I used to love watching this. It was one of my first sort of experiences of Australian TV, way before we had things like Sons and Daughters, The Young Doctors, Prisoner Cell Block H, which I absolutely adored and still do adore. But this was my first sort of look at Australian TV. Yes, it does look pretty rubbish nowadays when you watch it, but you know what? It's the nostalgia factor with this. Same with all the other ones. So that's my series that I grew up with. Who remembers Skippy the Bush Kangaroo? Right, what else have I got? Oh, I had a Q&A. I had one. I think it was Mark. You asked me this. If it was somebody else, please forgive me. But I think it was Mark. What is your favourite animated movie? My favourite animated movie, this took some thinking about actually, because I don't normally do sort of animated movies, but mine goes way back to 1973, and it's the Disney version of Robin Hood, which was the last, I believe, good animated Disney movie. Anything from there backwards I will watch. Anything from there forwards, not a huge fan of things like The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, which are all now being made into live action remakes. I believe The Little Mermaid remake has gone straight to #1 in the box office in the UK, which is fairly predictable, I suppose. But I'm not a great fan of what I would class as the modern Disney animated movies. But Robin Hood I thought was absolutely superb. Really loved it. Again, remember seeing that at the Odeon. I think it was my mother that took me to see that one. Yeah, I'm sure it was my mum. But I did love it. I loved the songs in it. I loved the way it was done, the voices. It was just amazing. So my favourite animated movie I would think is Robin Hood, followed very closely by a television special that Gene Kelly did around about 1966 or 67, Jack and the Beanstalk. Now this was half animated. When you actually got to the top of the beanstalk, everything was cartoon. And I thought it was wonderful. It was on pretty much every Christmas, so I've got very fond memories of this. It's a difficult one to locate. I can't find it on Dodgy Stick. There is a VHS out there, but it's about £30, and I'm not paying £30 for a VHS, so I keep hoping that at some point someone will re-release it on like a budget label. But that was really good. I loved that. So if I had one that was going to tie with Robin Hood, it would definitely be that one. So that's, yeah, they're my two favourite animated movies. So you've got Disney's Robin Hood and Gene Kelly's Jack and the Beanstalk. Now I will quickly run through, let me see, what I've been buying these last few weeks, and it's quite a list, so be ready for this. I'll start with this one. It's a CD, so this really belongs on Retro Music Zone, but I'll start with this. Sparks. I'm a huge Sparks fan, have been for years. Um, and this album is absolutely superb. It's their new one. It was released, I believe, last week. It's called The Girl Is Crying in Our Latte, and there isn't a bad track on this. Normally it takes me 3-4 weeks to get used to, new songs and stuff like that. I'm a great fan of old music that I know the words to and this, that and the other. So it takes me a while to get into anything new, but I thought this was absolutely superb. Standout tracks on this for me are the title track, and also Nothing Is As Good As They Say It Is. This is typical Sparks. If you read the lyrics, which are on the video, it's basically about a baby that is basically 22 hours old and wants to go back into the womb because it doesn't like the world that it's been born into. It's typical Sparks. It's bizarre as hell. But if you get a chance to listen to this, it is a superb album, without a doubt. And on the back of that, I finally ordered this. I've been meaning to get this for ages. The Sparks Brothers. This is the documentary made by Edgar Wright. Yes, the same Edgar Wright that directed Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Last Night in Soho, all that sort of thing. And he's done a cracking job with this. It's about 2.5 hours long, but it is a really entertaining documentary which takes you right from the beginning of Sparks' career. I mean, Russell Mael started life directing short movies in the 60s before he formed Sparks, but this takes you right from the beginning, right up to date, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. It goes album by album near enough, and it takes a while to get there, but it's a very entertaining documentary. And on this Blu-ray you've also got Sparks live in London, a 22 song performance over 2 hours, so that's got to be worth it. So I'm going to be having a look at that. I have seen it, but I've not seen the concert yet, so I will be taking a look at that. Next one. This proves that I do read the posts, even when I'm not sort of taking part in this, that and the other. I do read the posts. And this movie intrigued me to the point where I actually ordered a copy completely blind. I've never seen it. Plunkett and McLean. It stars, let me get this right, Robert Carlyle, Johnny Lee Miller and Liv Tyler. I believe it's something to do with Highwaymen, and it's got a contemporary music soundtrack to it. It just intrigued me. I read the posts. I believe this was on Forgotten Movies one day, and I thought, I really want to have a look at that. So I ordered this. I think it got about £8. So I'm looking forward to having a look at that when I get a minute. Dreamscape. I listened to a podcast last week, which was all about this movie. I haven't seen it for many, many years, but it basically got me interested in ordering a copy. I could have obviously downloaded it or found it somewhere else. I thought it was on streaming, but apparently it isn't. But the thing with this is it's a what's the studio? Second Sight release. So it's crammed with extras. There's a 90-minute documentary on there which won me over before I'd seen anything else. It's Dennis Quaid. This came out a good year before Nightmare on Elm Street, so this was the original sort of movie to do with people invading dreams and stuff like that. But this is a cracking movie if you've never seen it before. It also stars Kate Capshaw, most famous for playing opposite Harrison Ford in Temple of Doom. You've got Christopher Plummer. You've also got Max van Sydow in this. It's a wonderful movie and one that I'm really looking forward to taking another look at. This one, Never Take Sweets from a Stranger. This was a real social commentary movie. It caused quite a lot of problems with the censors when it first came out. I believe, Scott, you've seen this. And you classed it as quite disturbing. So obviously, the second I heard that, I had to have a copy. So I've not watched it yet. It's still in the cellophane, as most of these are. But I'm looking forward to having a look at that. Again, it's an indicator release, so it's rammed with extras. So I do want to take a look at that one. It was an X certificate in its day, which pretty much tells you what you need to know. Same as this one, The Damned. This is another indicator release. Not exactly sure what this is about, but it stars Oliver Reed in a very early role. So that kind of won me over before I'd seen anything else. And again, the extras, just look at that lot on the back there. You could spend a day just watching the extras. But I've heard very good reviews of this, so I'm looking forward to taking a look at that one. Now then, this, Brimstone and Treacle. I don't know why I ordered this. I either saw something online or I watched a video where this was mentioned. This was a controversial play, a BBC play from the 1970s, about a couple who have a disabled daughter. They take in a lodger who basically takes advantage of her. It caused such a stink when it came out. I believe it was even banned by the BBC at the time. Just have a quick look on the back. It doesn't say. I think it was screened once when it was pretty much shelved and said they'd never show it again because they got quite a bit of backlash from this. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what all the fuss was about with that. And obviously it was turned into a movie with Sting playing the lodger. Now, I've heard that this is much worse than the TV version. Obviously this is rated 18, the TV play is rated 15, so I remember seeing this a long time ago. I can't remember anything about it apart from the fact that Sting was in it, and that was the main reason that I actually watched it. And I did love the end title music, which he released as a single, Spread a Little Happiness I think it was called. Done very much in the 30s and 40s style. I thought it was a lovely song. I didn't realise at the time that it came from this really dark, controversial movie, so I'm looking forward to taking a look at both of those. And finally, on the DVD front, The Girl. This is a fictionalised account of Hitchcock's obsession with Tippi Hedren, which was pretty well known back then. Sienna Miller stars in this. Toby Jones plays Hitchcock. Toby Jones is superb in anything that he does, so I'm really looking forward to having a good look at this, to see what all the fuss was about. There have been books written about this obsession. I've not read any of them, but I've definitely grabbed that to see what happens with that. Let's see. Books, oh my god, there are so many. Oh, I never get through these. Republic Horrors, the Serial Studios Chillers. Republic were a studio that specialised in basically those black and white serials that were played in cinemas on Saturday mornings to basically entertain the kids. But they also had a nice little sideline in horror movies, with titles such as, let me see here, just bear with me, The Girl Who Dared, The Lady and the Monster, London Blackout Murders, The Catman of Paris. I can't wait to have a look at that. And another one, these next two books, I didn't even realise these were things. I was looking for the soundtracks to both of these movies and came across these by accident. First one is Being Gregory. As you know, I'm a huge fan of the movie Gregory's Girl, which I'm very much looking forward to watching on 4K when it's released in August. And this is a book, Bill Forsyth, Gregory's Girl, The Lot, which is basically the story of how the movie came about, the stars, all that kind of thing. As I say, I didn't realise this was the thing. I spotted it and I thought, that can't be the book that I've been waiting for all these years, and sure enough it is. Definitely going to have a read of that one. And another one, same thing, Local Hero. Nice book. Making a Scottish Classic. Behind the scenes stories, photographs, stories about the stars, generally about the making of one of the most wonderful movies ever. This is one of my favourites, as is Gregory's Girl, so I'm looking forward to having a read of that. And also I'm really hoping that we get a 4K release of Local Hero alongside Gregory's Girl, because that would be the perfect double bill, and it would be. The next one is this. I've been after this for years. It cost £30, which is really extortionate for a book, but I've been after it for years and I thought I'm going to grab it before it goes out of print. Flash Gordon serials, the Flash Gordon serials, 1936 to 1940. I absolutely adore these things. I'm watching one. Well, I've just finished watching Space Soldiers, which was the first one made in 1936, and I'm literally just starting this afternoon Flash Gordon's Trip to Mars, which was the sequel to that. Um, this is basically everything you need to know about the Flash Gordon serials, as it says, the stars, all the behind the scenes stuff, how it came about, all of that. Just to show you the ones that I've got all three actually. There's Flash Gordon Space Soldiers, which when you watch it now, my God, it looks ropey. But you've got to remember, these things are nearly 90 years old. But they're still great viewing. Next one, that's the one I'm going to start this afternoon. This is Flash Gordon's Trip to Mars. This is another 13 chapter classic. And finally this one, I think this is my favourite, Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe. This is on 2 discs, and again 12 chapters, but that is the kind of thing that they are referring to. I watch them and they basically take me back to a nicer age, a gentler age. So yeah, I do love those. Next, Gripping Chapters, the sound movie serial. This is basically a history of movie serials from sort of the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s sometimes. It's an exhaustive research. I mean, there's tons in there, photographs and all sorts. That was basically on the same page as the Flash Gordon one and also the Republic book. So I kind of had to have that. There's one more on there that I will be grabbing. And finally, this is an absolute behemoth of a book. This is not one to watch, to read cover to cover. This is one to just dip into. The Oxford History of World Cinema. This takes you right back from the early days of cinema as such, which is the 1800s. Georges Méliès, Trip to the Moon, all that sort of thing. The silent movies. The first sort of movies that were no more than 3-4 minutes long. Right the way up to, I believe this version was published in 1990 something, so it will only go up as far as that. But I'm looking forward to sort of having to flick through it. I can barely hold the thing, look at it, 800 pages plus. And another one, I was scouring the shelf upstairs and this fell out from the back. I didn't even realise it was there. I'd forgotten I'd got this. Get this. This is a desk diary from 1976. My desk diary from 1976. And as you'll see, I did use it. That's all my entries. These are the musings and thoughts of a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old. There are movies mentioned in this, movies that I was watching on TV or had been to the cinema to see. And what I would like to do at some point is maybe read out some of the entries in here. You'll obviously have to bear in mind that this is, as I say, the musings and ramblings of a 14-year-old and a 14-year-old from 1976. So, I don't know, would you like to know what's in there? There's nothing salacious or rude, it's me when I was 14, basically. And as I say, I'd forgotten I'd even got this. It must have slipped to the back of the bookshelf, and when I pulled a couple of the books off to clean them, this thing just fell out, and I thought, oh my God. And I started reading it, and it just brought back instant memories of what I was watching, what I was doing, all that kind of thing. So let me know if you want to see what's in there. Right, that is pretty much it. Thank you ever so much for joining me. I'm sorry I've kept you for so long. It must be, I bet it's about 50 minutes, isn't it? We'll be going back down to 30 minutes next week. This is just me catching up with everything that's been cracking off over the last couple of weeks while I've been away. I'm happy to say that I am now feeling an awful lot better, thanks to my best friend, which over the last couple of weeks has been a bottle of Cavonia. Some, not Fisherman's Friends, Japeman's lozenges, I believe, was the one that was recommended. So I got those. Bloody horrible, but they did the trick. Same as Cavonia, it's not the nicest taste in medicine, but it did the trick. It's chased it off. So, and I have not been dreading this morning, but I have been thinking, am I going to be able to get through it without coughing and spluttering all over the place? And I have, thankfully. So, as I say, thanks ever so much for all your well wishes. And it's really, really good to be back, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I mean that genuinely. It is really, really good to be back. So I'll be back with you again next week with more of the same, only a little bit less, hopefully. So have a great week, folks. Thanks ever so much for joining me and for bearing with me, and I will talk to you all again at the same time next week. Have a great week, folks. Take care. Ta-da.